Hi guys, I hope you are doing great. Welcome to my channel. Here we are with another episode of C Sharp programming tutorial, and we're gonna learn methods and also method overloading, and the parameter of methods, and method, in other words, functions with parameters. And if you haven't subscribed the channel yet, don't forget to subscribe it, and if you find the video useful, don't forget to like it. Let's begin. Okay, first of all, I have to tell you what methods are, or a function is. Well, a method is a block of code which only runs when it is called. You can pass data known as parameters into a method, and methods are used to perform certain actions. And the benefits of using methods are, it actually you define the code once, and you can use it as many as you want. You don't need to repeat the code, and you don't need to bother yourself with typing or repeating the same code. And you can actually cut the number of lines by using functions. A method is defined with the name of the method, and followed by parentheses. In C Sharp, it provides some predefined methods like this one. We have main here. This is a method, and you can use your own methods to be run inside this main. For example, if you want to declare a method, if you want to create a method, you have to write the codes outside of these parentheses. You can call the method here, but you have to declare it. You have to write the body of your method outside the main. Let's define a simple method. Static. I'll tell you what a static is. Static, for example, void my first method. Let's change it to lowercase. Okay, and it is when we usually, and actually always, start our functions with capital letter, it is more readable, and I highly recommend you to start your functions with capital letter, like mine. And I just need to print something, console dot write line. Let's say my method is called. Okay, and let me call the method here. You can just call the method by writing its name here, and parentheses, and you, as usual, put semicolon at the end of the line, and you just need to run the code. And you see, method is called is written here. Why? Because the function is called here and the code is executed. Let me again call it another time, and you can call this method as many as you want. I call it 3 times. I don't need to write this code 3 times. I just need to call the function, and this function might contain hundreds of lines. You don't need to copy these lines in your program. You just need to call the function. And you see, because we call the function 3 times, it is executed. Okay, now let's see how functions with parameters work. Information can be passed to methods as parameters. Parameters act as variable inside methods, and you can use them as you use variables. They are specified after method name inside parentheses. You can add as many parameters you want. Just you need to separate them by comma. Let me change this function into a function with parameters. You just need to declare some parameters like int I. For example, you need to string my name, For example, let's declare it as age. It is more meaningful. Age, for example, my name. I can use another one like um, int as an ID, or you can use float as like my grade. Okay, and you can use these parameters inside your function. For example, let me copy this line and I'll show you how this works. For example, let's say my age, and we have age here. If you don't know how to use console.writeLine, I highly recommend you to watch our previous lessons, because I explain how to use them in first session. My ID plus ID, and the last one my grade. Okay, now as you see, we have an error here because we haven't passed any parameters in between these two parentheses. It needs parameter. As you see here, we have age. We need to actually send an age. Let me bring it again. Age, a name, a string, an integer, again, and a float there. Okay, so let's define age like 20 and a name like Alex, and we have to use it between two quotation marks, and you need to an ID like 250 and a grade like 3.6. There is no error because we have fulfilled its requirements. So for the next one, like 25 the age, like Sarah, and the ID 963 and the grade 2.6, and we have another 30 like Chris, and 789, let's Cristiano, let's change the name, it's Cristiano, and the grade like 1.5, and also these three. So don't forget to put the name. I forgot to put those names between the quotation marks. This is wrong. So now it is right. And as I told you in the first session, you have to whenever you want to use float, you have to put an F here, because if you don't do that, it will be actually defined as a double. So let's print. As you see, they are printed here. So you don't need to actually repeat these codes for 3 times, and I actually save time and energy. You don't need to repeat code and actually uselessly extend your program. Well, let's see method overloading is. With a method overloading, multiple methods can have the same name with different parameters. For example, let me show you an example. Here we have 3 methods. Their name, all of them, their name is my method, okay? But the parentheses, the methods, the parameters that they actually get is different from another's, okay? And if I, for example, let me change, put them here, and they need to have a body. Okay, so what is wrong with this? Okay, you just need to return something, because to actually release from this error, you just return 0 for now to just release from this error. Okay, let me tell you something about the differences between here a method which is start with int, float, or double, or any other data types, and the difference between these functions and those that start with void. When you start a function, when you have a function which is type is void, it doesn't return any values. But if you have a function which is which is type is integer or float or any data types, it must return a value. Okay, so as you see here, we need to return an integer like 0. Here we need to return a float like 0.2, and you have to don't forget to put f here. And here we need to return a double. 0 is double, 0.3 for example. But when we have void, you don't need to return any values. This was the difference between a void and these types of functions. Okay, and if you want to declare a function, you have to put static here. Why we use statics in our methods? Because static means that method belongs to the program class, and not an object of program class. And I'll tell you about objects later, but now accept this. If you want to create a method here, you just need to use static, and also use static here and here again, double. First you need to say static. Okay, now we have three functions that their name is my method. Okay, and I have to write double here. Okay, let's call these functions. I call my method, and now as you see here, it has three overloads, and you can actually decide what to pass for this method. For example, I can actually pass an integer as an input, or I can pass a float as an input, or I can pass two doubles as an input. Okay, let's have for example an integer like 2, and let me call it in a console.writeLine to see the output. Okay, now if we run the code, as you see, 0 is printed here, not for example 0.2, because I passed an integer and this method was executed. And for example this time, if I pass for example 2.5f, we expect this method to be executed, and you see 2.5 is returned here. Okay, this was all about methods, and methods with parameters, and also method overloading. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it. If you have any questions, make comments. I'll answer as soon as possible. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, don't forget to subscribe it. And I'll see you later. Bye for now.